Hello to everybody in Year 4 at Summerfields School and to your fantastic teacher, Mrs. Ainsworth. Thank you so much for reading my book, The Boy Who Bite the World. My name is Alistair Humphreys. I should have told you that. I'm Alistair Humphreys. I'm an adventurer and I'm an author, and I've written books for children like The Boy Who Bite the World and The Girl Who Rode the Ocean and Great Adventures. If you want a sort of picture-y illustrated book about my personal favorite adventurers and the people who inspired me. Thank you for reading my book. I hope you enjoyed your banana sandwiches. I'm answering this question just before lunch, so I'm very close to going off to eat my own banana sandwiches once I finish these. Right, Mrs. Ainsworth, Mrs. Sparrow and Miss Godwin have sent some fantastic questions via these boys. Let's go. Lawrence, how much money did you spend on your trip and what cost the most? I spent £7,000, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually very cheap for 4 years of life. What cost the most? That's a good question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. I don't actually know the answer. I would guess it was a visa to get into a country. I can't remember. Some of them are quite expensive. The answer would have been a bicycle, but I got sponsored those. So I got given them for free, which is very helpful. Chu Hang, how do you get the bread and bananas if you didn't have much money? Well, I did have some money. So what I would always do is just buy the cheapest food in different countries. And often that was banana sandwiches. Not always. I admit I didn't actually eat as many as Tom in the book does, but I ate a lot. Generally, I just ate whatever was cheap in different countries. Monty, where's the worst place you've ever had a puncture? Oh, that must be Siberia. Minus 40 degrees, freezing cold, horrible conditions, hands freezing. Everything's impossible. The tire is frozen to the metal bit of the wheel. The plastic pump is frozen. And if you move it too much, it's going to snap. The inner tube you're going to put in is frozen. The glue is frozen. The only way you can warm stuff up is by putting it under your armpits or shoving it down your trousers. So fixing punctures at minus 40 is a nightmare. Benji, favorite and worst camping? Well, worst was probably in Siberia because it was very cold. Favorite? Oh, that's a good question. Favorite camping? Gosh, I've had so many good camping experiences. Sleeping wild in wild places, I just love. They tend to mix into one a bit, but my favorite, I can't really think of a favorite, but I'll just tell you that I love wild camping in wild places. Excellent question there from Benji. You have flummoxed me. Marcus, who is your favorite person you met on your journey and why? Gosh, well, I met lots of wonderful, kind, friendly, helpful people. But one interesting guy I met is someone called Tom Whitaker. If you Google him, he was one of the earlier disabled guys to climb Everest, and he really helped me, gave me lots of advice when I was struggling to keep going. He was quite a bit older than me, so he really encouraged me and helped me and motivated me and was really kind. I stayed with his family, so he was very helpful to me in America. Quintus, what country did you enjoy the most? That's a hard question because you like places for so many different reasons. The best food or the best weather or the friendliest people or the nicest tarmac roads for cycling. So there's lots of different categories of favorite. Alex, what did you find the hardest part? I thought the hardest part would be riding over mountains and deserts and stuff like that. But actually, if you do that all day, every day, it's not very hard. Much harder was the mental side, the loneliness, being on my own for so long, and also having a finish line that was 4 years away. It's quite hard to keep motivating yourself. So the mental part was definitely the hardest. What? Wild wind. Sorry. Wild wind nearly blew my door off, like being in Patagonia again. Faye, how many hours a day do you spend on your bike, and did you have days off? I had loads of days off. What I would do is I'd cycle every single day until I got to somewhere interesting, which was often the next capital city, for example. And then I'd stop there and rest for a few days and see the sights and fix my bike and do talks at schools. stuff like that. During the day, I tended to wake up pretty early, just about sunrise, and then cycle all day, but with lots of rest and lots of sandwiches along the way. And then when the sun was setting, I'd go to bed in the evening. And I'd just do that every day, until I got to a big city, and then I'd have a break. Andy, what was the most interesting fact you learned on your journey? Oh, I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. What an excellent question. Did you know that in all of human history, shuffling a deck of playing cards, nobody has ever shuffled the pack into the same order twice? There you are. Ethan, did you get lost? Yes, a lot. Avi or Avi, have you ever met up with anyone you met on your journey? So I bumped into a random person, not a random person, but a random person invited me to stay with them when I was in Kazakhstan. He was called Chris. Oh, sorry, I'm yawning. Sorry. I met up with this photographer called Chris, he was Canadian, but he was living in Kazakhstan. After the journey, and we became good friends. And after the journey, I met up with him, and I pack rafted. I crossed Iceland with him in a little rubber boat. If you look online, you'll see pictures of our adventure together. That was nice. Ray, did you experience any natural disasters? Good question. When I cycled up California, there were lots of signposts warning about tsunami evacuation routes. But, oh yes, I did see a sort of natural disaster or natural thing, wildfire. When I was up in the Yukon in Canada, there was a huge forest fire, 500 miles of forest fire, which meant I couldn't carry on by bike and I had to go by canoe. Not really a disaster, but it would be a disaster if you were a tree in that forest. Charlie, what did you do at Christmas during the trip? Christmas was always a bit rubbish, to be honest. That's the time you really feel lonely and homesick and want to be at home. My first one, I was in Jordan. That's a Muslim country, so it wasn't even Christmas. It was just Tuesday. I had one in Japan where they have KFC on a lot at Christmas time. But yeah, that was a time normally feeling a bit lonely and homesick and not getting any presents. Hugo, what was the weirdest landscape? Oh, maybe the Salar de Uyuni. If you Google that, it's Uyuni, a salt plain in Bolivia. And for days, you just cycle across the salt and camp out. It's beautiful, but empty. Yi, what was the coldest temperature? -40 in Siberia. Harry, did you go through the Amazon rainforest? No, I was on the west side of South America, so I didn't go to the Amazon rainforest. The only jungle bit I've ever really cycled through is Guatemala, Costa Rica, and it's amazing, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite type of landscape. It's very hot, it's very sweaty, lots of things that bite you and sting you and itch you and stuff. I think I'm probably more of a desert person than a rainforest person. Azimo, did a dangerous animal ever attack you? Mostly I just got chased by dogs, lots and lots of dogs chasing cyclists down the road, trying to bite my leg. George, were banana sandwiches the best thing you ate? No, they were not the best thing, but I did eat a lot of them, and they were cheap and they're healthy. I went through countries, lots of delicious food. Japan, China, Colombia, Lebanon, Syria, a little country called Georgia, Ethiopia, lots of delicious food in different places. And Ethan sort of asks about that. Favorite food, then I'm going to go for, let's say, Georgia, just because that was quite surprising and different food to what I was used to. Eason, what was the weirdest food you tried? Well, I had barbecued guinea pig. Sorry if you have a pet guinea pig. Dog. Sometimes people say, what does dog taste like? And I think the best way I can describe it is I say that dog tastes pretty similar to cat. Andy, did you actually drink blood and milk? So this annoys me. The book that I wrote is basically my story around the world, a true story that I've made. I've sort of changed it a bit to make it into an interesting story. But it's all kind of true. It's stuff that happened to me on the adventure. Sometimes I mix lots of different experiences together into one thing in the book. And in East Africa, I did stay in lots of villages, the Maasai villages, which was fantastic and really interesting. But I never drank blood and milk. And I made that up. And I don't know why I did. Why is my alarm going off? I set my alarm on my phone when I need to remember things. What do I need to remember? Oh yes, I remembered. Random detour. Funny actually. We're talking about drinking blood and milk. My alarm just went off there because I've got to go and give blood. Every so often I give blood as a donation thing. And you should tell your parents to do it. It's a good thing to do because hope one day you might need it back. Hopefully you won't. Anyway, sorry, where was I? Oh yeah, drinking blood and milk. I didn't do it. I just made that up. And I wish I hadn't bothered because I could have written a good story without doing that. But I didn't drink blood and milk. And I made that bit up in the story. And it's the very first page of the very first book. I regret. I don't. Annoying. Dylan's asking about food. By the way, it's a lot of food chat. It's 12:15 now, and I'm really hungry. You're making me hungry. What food do you most enjoy? Big question. Once I was cycling up a road in Alaska, hundreds of miles from nowhere, and a car went zooming past me. I didn't think much about it. Hours later, I was still cycling in the middle of nowhere. Car stops again. And they'd driven for hours to get a takeaway pizza. That's how far you have to go in Alaska. And on their passenger seat, they had a big stash of pizza boxes. And the lady said, I saw you hours ago. And you're still going. Look, I've got loads of pizzas. I think you could use one of these more than us. We've got plenty. And she gave me a pizza box and then just drove off. And there I was in the middle of Alaska, the kindness of strangers. And she's gone. Don't even know her name. In my head, I can't even remember what she looks like. And I just remember this pizza and the smell and the delicious taste and the gratitude and really appreciating it. And I just burst into tears. I'm so happy and thankful. So that was good food. Bam and Brian also asking about food and banana sandwiches. And Dennis wants to know about new languages. I learned how to say some words in loads and loads of languages. Hello, goodbye, left, right, bicycle, banana. And I was always trying to learn as much as I could because it's so, you enjoy a country so much more if you can speak their language. So I'd really try throughout the time I was in the country to learn the language. But the only one I got really any good at was Spanish because I had a whole year in South America. So by the end, I could hablo un poco español, más o menos. Yeah, learning languages is really cool. Right. I'm distracted now by my thoughts of going to give blood and the fact that I'm hungry. But also, I should finish by saying thank you so much for reading my book. And I hope it's giving you ideas of adventures of your own to go and explore. You don't have to go around the world to have an adventure. You could find some place within a mile of where you live and go explore it. Climb a new tree, go down a new street, follow a footpath you've never been before. We can all be explorers close to home, wherever we happen to live. You don't need to go all the way around the world to have an adventure. Thank you so much for reading my book. I really appreciate it. I've got a new book coming out in, I think it's September. It's called Canoe Challenge, which is Tom and his sister Lucy pairing up to go and canoe across America together. So maybe you might read that one day. Thanks so much and have a lovely day. And I'm now going for my lunch, which will not be either a banana sandwich or milk and blood. Don't know what it'll be, but I'm looking forward to it. Have a good day. Bye, everyone.